Hello, good evening. Hey, Dave. You're here by your little lonesome, it looks like. How's everybody today? Yes, happy Monday to you. Did you survive your Monday? Sorry, my notice didn't get out in time. I fell asleep and I was taking a little nap, and I thought it would be just for 10 minutes or something. All of a sudden, I wake up and it's like 5:45. It's like, no, I didn't get my notice out. But anyway, I needed it. So sorry if you didn't get your notice in time. Hey, Grammy Karen, how are you? Those of us over a certain age need our naps, right? I don't want to knock over my water here. Try to get this set here. So, how was everybody's week? What have you been doing? What are you up to? What are you harvesting? What are you, how's the weather been for you? All that kind of thing. We have had some really mild weather. Actually, it's been, and for the next week, will continue to be highs in the 70s, lows in the 50s. So, last night, but the night before, it actually got down to 52 at night. And it's like, okay, that's going to start interfering with my blossoms and my production. But it's been a very busy week for me. Like I said, we're getting ready for my parents' garage estate sale type of thing, and which we're going to be busy with again this week. So I haven't been out in my garden since last week when I was out there with you guys. But you picked, hey, Patty, how are you, Tinker's wife? You picked 2 more gallons of blueberries. Oh, nice. If any of you follow Wilderstead, they do like a trip every year at this time to go blueberry picking. And I mean, they actually go out. I don't know if they camp or what it is, in a tent or whatever, but they go to the best blueberry places in Northern Ontario. Hey, Michigan Daffodil. Oh, I know, naps are great. Sunflower Marcia, hello. Good evening to you. Thank you for being here. Julie, hello. It's good to see everybody. Pennsylvania's mild too. I know. Usually, or I shouldn't say usually, often August, we have what we call the dog days in August, and the dog days of summer, but usually August is really kind of that hot still time, and it hasn't been. This week we're supposed to have rain for 4 or 5 days straight, which is not going to be really conducive for a garage sale, or yard sale. But anyway, it is what it is. So weather's pretty nice, but except dry. Okay. Yeah, we things are still staying nice and green out here. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're at least 5 or 10 degrees below average right now. I haven't checked, but that's what it feels like. I really just feel like September type of weather. It's crazy. Neighbors are feeding you dinner this evening. Oh, yes, you don't want to be naughty enough. Absolutely. Well, Patty, if you need to snooze while you're listening to me, that's quite all right. Anyway, yeah, so I was pulling stuff together for today. It's been really kind of crazy. So, I don't know if I told you last week when I went to go live out there. To plug in, I was going to plug in the outside socket, and it was filled with a wasp nest. I can't remember if I told you guys that or not, but it was like, oh, so the next day I went out and to to extradicate them, and it was like, okay, is that a word I made up? Eradicate or extradicate? Extradicated them. I like that word though. I don't know if it's real or not, but I may have just made up something. Um, so I just evicted them. Anyway, I had a glove on. I had my can of Raid wasp killer that shoots like 30 feet, and so I went. I opened the little latch of my. I think I can remember I did, but yeah, the outlet with the little plastic cover and everything. And so open it up, and because it was just packed full. And of course, that aggravated them right there. They're just like all a buzz. And and so I stepped back like 6 or 8 feet, and I just shot that whole area. One got so mad. He just like, dude, just, I mean, 80 miles an hour just right at me and stung me right on the wrist here. He got me. And I still have a mark, but just a bite mark. I don't know if you can, you probably can't see it here. It's right there. Anyway, so it swelled up pretty good. And he was trying to get me more. And it was just like, I was doing the proverbial, dancing, slapping away and swinging and everything at them and running away. So I made it back inside without getting stung again, but it was crazy. Hey, Lori, good evening to you. That's true. Yeah, if hopefully it's I think for that area it's still at about a 30% chance. Here it's gone from 20 to 30 to 40 to 50%. So it's kind of a for sure thing here. But anyway, we're supposed to have a town festival on Saturday too. So let's hope that doesn't get rained out either. But I know I hate wasps. My older brother is highly allergic to bees, and I asked him this weekend too. Is like, does that include wasps and hornets and everything? He said, yeah. And I was like, oh, I didn't know. I thought it was just bee stings. So he's been through the round of shots and all that kind of stuff, but carries an EpiPen with him wherever he goes. So yeah, it's I know war injury. No, I didn't film that one. I didn't think about doing it because I thought it was going to be just, open it up, shoot them, and done. But I didn't know that there would be drama with it. I don't. It would have just been like all a blur anyway, unless I had put the camera, stationed it and shot me or something. But anyway, yeah, I'm hoping that they don't find that spot again. I really do. It's the first time they have, so it's just an unusual year, I guess. So anyway, only hornets. Those things can be nasty. And wasn't it your area, Patty, that had was it the killer hornets that had come from across the seas? I think that it was kind of invading the Northwest and trying to make their way down to the Southwest, but I'm not sure. But anyway. Oh, thanks, Grammy Karen. That's so sweet. And how are things in your areas of things? So, oh, they did get, okay, Washington State caught a few. I hadn't heard anything more since the original outbreak, so I don't know if it is. So, hey, Alicia, no worries. No worries, dear. We've got, family comes first. So, always, always, always. And, oh, not killer hornets. Is that what I said? Killer hornet, murder hornet. Yeah. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I didn't hear any more about them since. So, Um, anyway, yeah, a lot of your gardens, everybody's like harvesting and putting away, and I'm like, things are just growing out here. They've only been growing for about a month, 5 weeks or so. But yeah, it's August 15th today. I mean, it's really unusual outside. It almost smells like fall is in the air, but hopefully not. Hopefully. Well, happy birthday, Alicia. Hey, Kiri. Hello. How are you? Tropical system is making you wet. Yay, you're getting rain though. That is excellent. I haven't been looking at the national weather for a while, so been just crazy busy here. Um, yeah, except for taking a nap. Anyway, but it felt good. I was just like, it's kind of one of those where you're trying to do something, you just pass out, and so obviously I needed it. Um, so I did put some links in the show notes below for all the things we're going to talk about. So if you guys need to go, or if you want to go back and study this or whatever, I mean, this is only just like a little little peek at what is out there. So if you are needing more information, please do the research. That type of thing. You have more tomatoes coming up. Nice. I know it's always an interesting thing when things actually do grow. So I got to plug in, and it's like, oh, I put a seed in the dirt, in the soil, and look at, I have a full plant with fruit down there. I know, it's so great. Well, Kiri, that's quite a blessing, actually, to help keep things a little cooler. Most definitely. Um, trying to see what. I know Matt and Sarah have been really busy, so I haven't seen them on here for a while. Because their garden is rocking. They're at 75 degrees right now. So, anywho, yes, rain. Oh, yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Oh, now I'm up to 70% for Friday. See, I tell you, it just keeps going. 40 on Wednesday, 60 on Thursday, 70% Friday, 40% Saturday. It's nice before then and nice after that. Like, oh, but it's Friday, the high is 69. And it's like, that's not good. Doesn't really help things grow too much. But anyway, it's when I could get things in. So what I get out of my garden, I get out of my garden this year. And hopefully it will, um, I'll get something out of it. I still have plenty left from other years. And so, hopefully it'll all work out. And, life just gets in there. And sometimes it just doesn't work to put in a full garden, so, as a lot of you know, right? Michigan Daffodil, hello. You finally bringing your plants. You kept the apartment tomorrow. Nice. Oh, that'll be good. Dave, you started milling tomatoes and freezing puree. Oh, that is a great idea. Just putting them through there and then freezing it so it's all ready to go. And then when you had everything together, just can it all at one time. Then you're not canning like every other day. That's a great idea. And if you have the freezer space, you can always put the whole tomatoes in too, but getting that part ready, that's a good idea. Very, very good idea. Because there's always so much to have to do and everything. So let's go talk a little bit about why trees are so important on your homestead. I've talked about like perennials and everything, and making sure that you have a variety of things, and trees was part of that. Having fruit trees or nut trees or whatever to to help add to your food supply in your on your homestead and for what you're doing. Do the same with the berries. Yeah, not even just waiting till the end of the season, but doing it in the winter too. That's such a great idea because canning takes up a lot of time. It does a lot of effort. Um, hey, Sunflower Marcia, good evening to you. Missed you up there somewhere, so sorry about that. Um, so yes, to have trees around, and whether you've got 100 acres or 10 acres or 5 acres or half an acre or in an apartment or whatever, there are different things that you can do. Um, if you're in a suburban subdivision or something and you've got a lot or whatever it is, there are still trees that you can put in, and there's so many benefits to it. And so you don't want to put trees right over your garden unless you want an area that's going to be shaded for certain fruits or vegetables. But generally, you want to make sure that your garden itself is free and clear and has sunlight as long as it can during the day. But strategically plan out your area, um, and just homesteading. Excuse me. Um, Homesteading is, like we said, it's an attitude, it's a mindset, and it can be accomplished in even the smallest of spaces. And so Alicia, you say you have the first few blackberries. Nice. Oh, blackberry pancakes, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So but combining your homesteading, permaculture, and that's kind of a whole nother topic that I'll try to address another time. But anyway, then sustainable development, which trees are part of your sustainability. You can create, a better area for yourself, or if you're in a city, better communities for the future. For any of us who homestead, the need for and the value of our trees is really simple, and it's sometimes very basic. Can If you have a wooded area and lots of accessibility to, like, dead fallen trees that you're able to cut down, um, it helps to build your homes, your fences, your garden beds. It helps to heat your home, to cook your food, or have the fire there that you can use for so many different things. um, my brother, whose wife just died this summer, he had built a log home north, and actually he milled every single piece of wood in that house from his land. So I mean, it was just like, so a lot of the posts and everything outside, are like a full tree width, and some of them are, good 24 inches in diameter at least. Some even bigger, and they're the not the beams, but the posts for uh, his arches. And I mean, it's just, his home was just beautiful, and it took him a few years to get it finished. But every piece of wood in there, he's a cabinet maker by trade, so he milled everything and built the cabinets and built the floorboards, the ceiling board, just everything. um, and it's his house is a labor of love. And I didn't realize that every single board came from his land, from the trees that he had and harvested. So it's just amazing what it can do. I mean, it can just supply your home and different things. So you definitely use trees over that way. Yes. And Dave, you have a nice wooded area there that you can do that. You have a ton of dead fallen cedar trees in your goat paddock. Okay. But they're serving a purpose, though, too, Kiri. They're serving for the goats. There's, you know, you don't have to bring in other things for them to be able to play on or stand on or take shelter with or anything like that. So Graybeard used his sawmill to mill the wood for Zach and Joe's porch on their store. Nice. I did not know that, Grammy Karen. That is so great. I know, I know, Dave, you've got a mill, and it's going to be such a useful, powerful tool in so many homesteads. It really will. So, the goats killed the trees. Oh, sorry about that. Didn't know that they did that one, but um, so anyway, so many ways our trees do provide for us. We just have to make sure that we responsibly manage our wood lot and different things like that. So, um, just a little bit of a history. In 1862, for the United States, President Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, signed into law the Homestead Act. This act enabled individuals to file for a quarter section of free land, and a quarter of a section is 160 acres. So the land was theirs at the end of 5 years. If they had built a house on it, dug a well, cultivated 10 acres, fenced part of the property, and actually lived there. So, you get free land for all that kind of thing. But and all of that was for an $18 filing fee. So they're really encouraging people to spread west and to establish all that kind of thing. So it was really neat. So Alicia, you're surrounded by pine and maple trees. You're right next to a wooded park. Oh, that is so great. That's beautiful. Your family both got neighboring homesteads from that act. The kids met, married, and led. What a story. That is so great, Dave. That is really neat. So, for the Homestead Act, then cultivating those 10 acres of land specifically involved breaking the land or plowing it, then planting. So, and they could plant crops or trees. Didn't have to be just corn or something out there. They could put in trees there. Trees were actually the more common and practical choice for part or all of the fulfillment. Think about it. If you had to cultivate 10 acres out on the plains by hand or horsepower, would you plant a 10-acre garden or would you choose trees? So you can imagine why the trees were probably the choice to do that for the original homesteaders. Yeah, I don't know, Kiri. It might be $500 or something now. I don't know, but it'd be kind of cool. So, to further encourage the cultivation of trees for homesteaders, the Timber Culture Act was passed in 1873. So this was 11 years later. So a Timber Culture Act, giving individuals the right to claim 160 acres of additional land by planting and successfully cultivating 40 acres of trees. So here they want more forests done, and attending them for 10 years. So later this requirement was reduced to 10 acres and 8 years of cares. So, but that act was not as successful necessarily for the encouragement of development, because it didn't really say that you had to build your house and live there for so long. I mean, you had to care for it, but the Homestead Act was by far much more, not only popular, but it was more stable and solid in that way. So for most settlers in the arid plains, the really dry plains and everything, succeeding even at the reduced levels was a practical impossibility for that Timber Culture Act. Because, you've got the Great Plains and there are very few trees there. Um, Generally for a reason, they just didn't grow that well there. And so, because it was so dry and the trees needed more water, they just couldn't survive. But in either way, the value of trees for the homesteader is nothing new. Um, so, we shouldn't really need laws or regulations or anything like that, just common sense in pulling together all the things that we need for our homestead. Another little piece of history with this is we could kind of look and learn from the Vikings, or look to them and learn from them. In the 9th century, so we're talking the 800s, and they actually settled in Iceland. Now we know Iceland to be just, yeah. Um, I mean, it's got its climate and the summer months and winter months and everything, but within 300 years from when they settled, they destroyed all of their trees as they just wiped through them to build their homes and to build all this kind of stuff. But they didn't reforest. They didn't replant. They just, for some reason, didn't really know that that was the thing that they needed to do or understand. Maybe they just figured the trees would grow back or something. But anyway, so in 300 years, they destroyed all the trees. So no more trees. And this was now the 12th century. Didn't have electricity like we have now. So no trees meant no heat, no cooking, and thus the end of the civilization there. So then they just couldn't live there anymore. They actually starved themselves out of a once rich and forested land. So some planted trees in the plains as wind breaks. Yes, and I think they did find there maybe were some trees, but as and it has improved over the years. Is equivalent to $650. How do you know that? The conversion. Did you Google that, Patty? Kira, yeah, that is a lot of money for someone. However, in today's money, is $650 for 160 acres of land, and then you do that and it's free and clear. I mean, now that's not even a month's rent, or a mortgage payment. So, so not even $2 an acre. Yeah, especially if you can combine it, so it's not just a single person going there. If you have, like you said, 2 or 3 families going in there together and living off of 160 acres worth of land, that could be done. They easily could do that in Google, of course. Yes. That's quite an increase in price there, isn't it? So, so anyway, what the Vikings did, that kind of, we have to remember to how important trees are for us. Like I said, even if it's just a lot that you have, and it's not 50 acres or something, you just still need to have trees. When I moved here, there were 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 trees on my property, and one went down within the first year in a storm. So, so I had 3 trees, but I started planting right away. And at one point I had 12 trees here. I now have 9. There were a couple that just didn't make it. I had a blue spruce for maybe 4 or 5 years. And then there was one spring that was just very harsh. It had gotten really warm, and so the ground thawed and it was starting to grow again, and then it got warm early. I'm talking like end of February, beginning of March, and then it got back down to 0 and stayed there again for like a month or something. So it just killed off a ton of trees. So I lost a blue spruce that way, and I tried. I had a couple cherry bushes, but they um, they weren't growing well. And then I tried another. It's a peach tree or a cherry tree, I can't remember, and that one died. So, but I've planted another pine tree, two birch, three apple trees, an apricot tree, and I think that's it. So even on my lot here, just adding a number of trees. So there's so many benefits to it. There really are. You can't buy enough to park a car on here for that. That's true. The original oak knob farm. Dave, that is so cool. Wow. What history behind what you've got there? Oh, the original oak knob farm. And that's what they called it then. Their homestead. Oh, that is so great. Drought killed a goji berry for you this year, and your Nanking cherry is not looking too hot either. Yeah, it's really hard, and I'm gonna, if I have enough time here, I'm gonna be kind of going slow here. I've got 18 pages of notes here, and I'm on page 2, so I'm gonna have to try to run through these a little bit quicker here. But anyway, when planting a tree, there's some things you really need to consider and doing, but also pick the right tree for your homestead. Choose the right time of the year to plant the tree. Put a serious consideration into the location, because it's going to be there for a long time. Whether you need it for shade for your house, um, you know, to prevent soil erosion on a hillside, just different things like that. So, hi, Patty. How are you? Southern Blessed Homestead. And Howie, hello. Donna, hello to you. How are you doing? Um, so, some of the best trees to plant on your homestead is to have a mix of fruit, nut, and landscape trees. So get a variety of things, because they all serve a different purpose. Some are going to be shade. Some are going to be food production for you. The different things. So you could do cherry, a stone pine, beech, birch, sugar maple, lime, and it's going to depend on your climate too. I don't know if I could grow a lime tree here. Fig, mulberry, apple, plum, hazelnut, walnut, chestnut, willow, olive. Willow trees grow really well here, but olive trees wouldn't. Eucalyptus, bur oak, citrus, honey locust, pecan, pawpaw, Siberian peat tree. So, one thing you have to do is know the heat tolerance of your tree and your climate. Cedar, okay, cedar does great there too. So that would be not only like shade and ecology type thing in the way of providing things for your soil and windbreaks and different things like that. But that would be excellent wood supply too, because for cedar, so that'd be excellent for that. Um, so some trees just don't do well in hot climates. So if you're in such a climate, you need to look for trees that thrive in those conditions. And the same is true for cold climates. As much as maybe I would love to have a magnolia tree, because the blossoms are gorgeous, they smell great, the leaves are huge and beautiful. They grow well in Louisiana. They do not grow in Minnesota. So it's like, as much as I would love to plant a magnolia tree here and grow and have it thrive, it's not going to, so you just can't do that. So you do have a great variety, Dave. Oh my goodness, yeah. Yes, a very diverse yard. That is great. Do you think Your homesteading ancestors, did they plant all of those purposely, or were they things that just kind of came naturally with the land? That would be interesting to know. So blue spruce and quaking aspen both get planted in this region, but are not well suited to our soils or the climate. Okay. So why did they keep planting them there if they're not well suited to the climate? That's just. Oh, you would love one too, Donna. Oh yes. Um, so there's a thing called chill hours. So for picking out your tree, I'd never heard of this before, but understanding a chill hour of your tree and your climate. So a chill hour is the chill unit that's equal to 1 hour that a fruit tree spends in cooler temperatures. So we're talking fruit trees here, obviously. Um, and those temperatures we're talking between 32 and 45 degrees Fahrenheit. So many fruit trees vary in the number of chill hours that they need. Um, in the world of horticulture, chill hours refer to the total number of hours within that temperature range that it receives on average every winter. So they are essential for certain plants to break their dormancy and set fruit in the spring. So they need to have, and there's charts out there for so many chill hours and everything. So those have to occur in between November and March. So kind of a cumulative hours in there. So peaches are 600 cold. Okay. Chill hours. Oh, look at you guys have already heard about that. That's so neat. Yes, apples are big for the northern. Yep, apples, some cherries, I think, too. But anyway, it's crucial to pay attention to chill hours when selecting your fruit trees. Um, for instance, a fruit tree that needs 800 chill hours will not produce fruit if it's planted somewhere that only receives 500 chill hours. And chill hours are different from cold hardiness. So we don't want to think zone versus chill hours. It's very different. The cold hardiness in your zone is the lowest temperature that a tree or plant can tolerate without dying. Chill hours have to do with the amount of dormancy you have to be able to set fruit. Now you can, plant a peach or an apricot tree or something here that you want, and it's going to survive. But if it doesn't get enough chill hours, it's never going to fruit out, which I think has happened to my apricot tree. This said that it was hardy for this zone, but it's. I think it doesn't even blossom anymore. For a number of years, it did blossom, and I think one year I did get like maybe 5 fruit on it, but they were like eaten up by bugs right away, and so I've never gotten apricots off my apricot tree. But I had no idea. I mean, I planted it 25 years ago, so it was very interesting. Um, trees, they're trees. Oh, people like the designers will plant them. Yeah, that's unfortunate. It really is. Luckily, newer breeds are needing fewer hours for southern growers. Okay, well, that's kind of cool. So then, of course, there are zones then too that you can look at too. I wouldn't want, like I said, I can't plant a magnolia tree here, so that's not in my zone to be doing that. So you can look at that. Um, you don't need any cold hours for your lemon, figs, kiwi, passion fruit, or satsuma. Look what this where. It's amazing that you're that far north, Howie, and but you just get a nice warm flow of the water, I bet, in the something that's there to prevent you from freezing in the way that we do here in because I think your latitude is probably even further north than mine, and so it's crazy. It really is. But you just have a totally different climate, a marine temperate. Okay. So another thing to think about for the trees for your homestead are there any disease issues for trees in your area? It's like the pine beetles, or Dutch elm disease. If you wanted to plant elm trees, the Dutch elm just swept through. There's the emerald, the emerald ash borer, I believe. So if you love ash trees, those are being wiped out by the emerald um, things and everything. So um, yes, all the different varieties, absolutely. Emerald ash borer, yes. Thanks, Michelle. Hi, how are you? I'm sorry I didn't see you there before. I've been talking a lot here. Hemlock, woolly, adelgid. I have not heard of that. Interesting. Um, so yes, so know what diseases are. You can check with your local um, greenhouse, or you can nursery, or you can check with your extension office or something. It's like, what diseases are out here right now. You probably get a more true answer at the extension office rather than a nursery, because they're going to be trying to sell the trees. So are they killing your hemlocks? Oh, that's why you're saying you have a lot of hemlock wood that you're going to be harvesting. Okay. Some of our old bur oak trees have oak wilt. I've not heard of oak wilt. Wow. You grow everything, and this year your kiwi and figs are loaded. Oh, nice. Not so good for plums this year, and very few apples. Oh. Um, wow, how you just get such a great variety there. It's just awesome. So, also, when to plant your trees. The best time to plant is when your tree is dormant, but the ground isn't frozen. So you don't want to have, like, you know, in the middle of June or July, when the tree is like flourishing and doing all that, trying to plant then. I mean, it can survive and everything, but the best time is when it's dormant. So trees go to sleep every fall, wake up every spring. Again, that sleep is called dormancy. And it helps them to survive the harsh winter periods. Growth above ground generally or essentially stops during dormancy and ends only after a period of sustained chilling. Besides cold temperatures, the shorter day lengths help to trigger dormancy. So planting the trees again while they're there, usually early spring or late fall are the best times to plant the trees. So kind of put that in your plan if you're going to be doing that. No pears this year either. Oh, Donna, I don't know. I have not checked into fig trees here. Um, unless there's a variety that's a cold hardy variety, I don't. I'm not sure. Plant bare rootstock 3 weeks before spring. Okay. A lot of times our ground isn't even thawed out enough for planting until um, the end of April, generally even beginning of May. So if you buy a tree in June or July, can it be left in the pot and planted later in the year? I would say yes, if there's enough room for, if it's not root bound and if it's looking healthy and everything. I would say you probably could. The tree will get 2 seedings, one in spring and one in the fall. Okay. See, I have such wonderful experts here that help out. You guys are so great. Um, Donna, another answer to that is that, yes, you can plant them anytime. They just require a little more care. So you just have to take more care of the transition if you plant it, to reduce root shock and or to reduce shock for the tree, and making sure that it's adequately watered. Put your tree in a place that's going to give you the right amount of sunlight. There are a few trees that could thrive in the shade, but generally when it's underneath or close to another tree that's bigger, it's going to stunt the growth of that small tree, of that new one, or it's going to grow, it's going to lean this way. You'll have a lot of growth of branches out on one side, but not much on the other because that other tree is right there. And they recognize when they're being crowded out. If you go into a wooded area, you can see, how stunted the little trees are. And that's another great reason, if you have a woodlot, is to be managing those trees, to cut down the ones that are older and bigger, and then let the young ones come up and start growing. It's just a great deal of that management and everything that you need to do for your trees in order for them to thrive, not just survive, but to thrive and provide more for you. Your aunt had a fig tree in California. Yes, it would be. Oh, and you're getting them for free right off the tree. I know. Another reason to have fruit trees. I mean, just it's amazing. So also place your tree where the roots are not going to cause any damage, or tree limbs, or any falling fruit or leaves. Let's say you wanted to plant a black walnut tree. Those those black walnuts, they come in like a ball of that's it's about the size of a tennis ball almost, and it's a thick padding around this core nut, but they will fall and just, or an oak tree, and you can have a season. We've had a few seasons in the last few years where they are just dropping acorns everywhere, and if you don't want them falling on your vehicles or hitting your tin roof of your cars or your house or something, it's like put them where they're not going to cause damage or anything else. And that's another thing. It's like if you're going to put a huge mighty oak 8 feet from your house, think about if there's going to be a storm and that oak tree is going to come right down on your house. So put them, grow the right kind of tree first of all for your space, and then put them in a space that is going to be really helpful for your property, and it won't cause other damage in that way. So yes, and place where any shade that comes from it is going to be an asset rather than a burden. In other words, like you want to provide shade for your house, or for um, a nice seating area for your lawn or something like that, so that the heat of the summer is not going to fry everything. The trees I have in the front of the house, oh my goodness, it keeps this whole area 10 to 15 degrees cooler in the summer than when I didn't have trees. And my house, I don't have to run the air conditioner so hard. It keeps it cooler in the late afternoon, just everything like that. So place them where they're going to be very helpful. You don't want to place one that's going to shade your garden, because that's not going to be helpful, because your garden, things won't grow in there then. So there's a fig tree park in Oregon just south of you back in the 1940s. Oh, that's so fun. They don't like anything growing around them. That's so true, Patty. It's a black walnut. Wow. You harvest acorns for the goats. They love them. I bet they would. Plant taproot trees near drains or the house. Lateral roots. Yes, definitely. Thank you, Howie. That's a very, very good good thing. So what he's saying is that there's some trees that will have the root systems going straight just down, and that's a taproot. They're just going down. They will also anchor better in the ground for storms and everything. There'll be a stronger system. Then you've got trees that whose roots spread outward, and yes, they can go right into your foundation. They can disrupt your septic system or your well or something, anything underneath there, but especially your foundation or your basement, and cause all kinds of problems. And they need more water too, because they're not tapping right down into the moisture in the ground. So that's an excellent point there too. You also want to make sure that a tree has a proper drainage. So you don't want to put it in a little gully that's going to always be wet or saturated, or is always flooding in there or something, because that's going to be too hard on your tree. Um, Again, if you have, there's just a lot of different things there. I'm not going to be able to get to everything here. So I have a whole list of the trees and their benefits for them. I think that was one of the links that I had down there. So Dave, you say your house is oak and beech heavy. It was used as a pig pasture in the fall, 500 to 100 years ago, or 50 to 100 years ago. Wow, neat. Don't put trees even close to a septic tank, 30 to 40 feet away. Exactly. Because all of a sudden you're going to have, an $8,000 bill for fixing your septic. Yes, they are. I think my river birch in the front are that way. And I mean, like I said, I planted them almost 25 years ago, and I did not know they were that kind of a system, but I have to water them heavily through the summer. And so far they haven't caused any damage to my foundation, but they are a shallow root system because they're a river birch. They're meant to be planted on the banks of rivers, and so their root system is always seeking that water there. And they're not a taproot, but taproot are also mineral seekers. Okay. Feeder roots of trees, like Douglas fir and maples, grow well out from the drip line of the tree. Nice. Okay. Thank you, Grammy Karen. Oh, thanks, Howie. You guys are just great contributors. I really appreciate that. Fir trees use 500 to 600 gallons of water daily in the summer. Oh my goodness. Wow. I had no idea trees needed that much. That is crazy. So yeah, there is a whole bunch of trees here, but anyway, some of the benefits, there are, economic benefits, like I said, to help create nice shade. They create a landscaping atmosphere, different things like that. Your home's value can actually increase if you're going to sell it when people see that there are trees there rather than a bare lot, because people want some trees. They're like, oh, that's so appealing, different things like that. And so they kind of like what Dave was saying too. It's like trees aren't only essential for life, but as the longest living species on Earth, they give us a link between the past, present, and the future. So look at the link that he has to his past, to his ancestors. I think that's very cool. It's critical that woodlands, rainforests, and trees in urban settings, such as parks, are preserved and sustainably managed. Yes. So they help soil erosion. Like I said, they can actually absorb a lot of stormwater. Look what they were saying here. 500 to 1,200 gallons a day. So in storms, they can actually help take up a lot of that extra water that would be saturating the earth and everything. They help to clean our air, because the whole process that they take in and then provide oxygen, and they take in the carbon dioxide and all that kind of stuff, the whole scientific process there. They actually can help to purify the water in your system, in your groundwater and different things. They says with many substances in the atmosphere, stormwater picks up many pollutants, dirt, and bacteria that cause a threat to clean water. As rainwater hits places like roads and roofs, it becomes stormwater and may include heavy metals, oil, pesticides, grease, and other chemicals contaminating our waters. Trees break the rain and allow the water to seep into the ground. This reduces the risk of stormwater that's going into our wells or our water, our streams or oceans or whatever. So planting trees creates a filter-like sponge as they filter the water and help recharge groundwater supplies. They provide a habitat for animals and different things like that, animals and insects. And they add to the whole permaculture thing and everything. So let me see. Benefits. Says try to put evergreens on the north side of your home and shrubs around the foundation to act as a windbreak to reduce the cooling effects of winter winds. So that can help with winter winds. And then, so that's a good tip for those northerners. I heard about a rancher a few years ago who removed all the cedar trees. Oh, wow. That's pretty cool, Carrie. So the cedar trees were taking up all that water and all of a sudden found some. That's pretty cool. Invasive junipers have ruined the habitat due to their consumption of water and nutrients. Oh, so, that there again, it's a balance. It's like people say, oh, you got to plant trees, which is, yes, we need to replenish our forests and different things, but you can also plant too many trees. If it's a land that is used to having, let's say it's used to having 5 trees to an acre. All of a sudden you go and you put you plant 50 trees in there in that acre. That is definitely going to change the whole ecosystem. If it's used to having a deciduous tree in there, let's say, a maple tree or an ash or something like that, and you plant all pine trees, conifers of some sort, that's going to change the makeup of the soil because of the different chemicals or not the nutrients, the different things that tree puts off into the soil. It's going to change the whole thing of it. So pulled a bunch of juniper. Okay. Plant native trees. Yeah. So, well, there you go, Kiri. Maybe you could plant some bushes back in there to help break some of the wind. That plant them 10 or 15 feet away from the door or something like that. I don't know what your ground area looks like and everything, but anyway, those are some of the things that help with that. So, yeah, there's a lot more information here, but that's kind of the basic stuff. So you guys have been awesome. Look it's 2 minutes to the hour already. It's crazy. Crazy. But like I said, I've got some links below. I also put a link for Stark Brothers. I'm not endorsing them, or I'm not endorsed by them for anything, but anyway, they just are one of the most common suppliers of trees for homesteaders too. But they have trees, bushes, other plants and stuff, and they just have a really good reputation. And they can provide pretty much everything that you need. So anyway, you can check them out. But do your research for your climate, for the chill hours that you need, for your hardiness zone, for the kind of trees that you want to grow. Let's say you want a variety of fruit, nut, and just shade trees or something like that. You want a variety. Figure it out and plan it out and see how much room you have. Maybe you only have room for 2 or 3 trees. Decide what you want and make sure that you put it in there. Now, there are a number of trees like apple trees and some of these others that need to have another tree, and so it needs a pollinator. And in the way of it, you need 2 trees for all of the the pollination to happen, for fruit to grow on it. It's not self-pollinating. So, just double check that. You've had great luck with Stark Brothers. That's awesome, Dave. It's like, yeah. But anyway, you guys, it's already 7 o'clock Central here. So, anyway, thank you for being with me today. This went so fast. And I really appreciate your input, and just have a great week. I have a very busy week ahead of me, and hopefully by the end of August, after that, we'll be able to breathe because it's been a long summer. Anyway, you guys take care. God bless. Always have hope, and just have a great week. I'll talk to you later.